It's hard to not like what USC is doing right now on the recruiting trail. They brought in a new GM from Notre Dame, reportedly paying him around $1 million. The early returns, he's worth every penny. So USC is sitting atop the recruiting rankings in 2026 for several services. Now, it's early. It's early. The summer is going to cause this stuff to go up and down. What the Trojans have accomplished, though, is it looks like they've given themselves a floor of a top 10 class. That's the floor. The ceiling, of course, as it always has been and will forever be for the USC Trojans, is the number one class in the country. No reason they can't push for that on an annual basis. No one gets it every year. But the amount of talent that is within spitting distance of USC's campus, you don't even have to go that far to find some of the best high school programs in the country. Yeah, they can get a lot of talent really easily, and their brand should allow them to recruit nationally. And if they invest financially, and it seems like they have upped their efforts in that regard over the last couple of cycles, it's continuing to pay dividends. So they continue to have the number one class. Yes, it's April 1st. I'm well aware. What would you think right now if USC had the 40th ranked recruiting class? Do you think their floor would be a top 10 class? No. No, you wouldn't say that. Now, part of the reason that USC is in this position is they've landed a lot of commitments early. That's what I see people discuss online all the time. Well, I mean, they just have more players than everybody else. Never mind the fact that plenty of them are highly rated. They have 17 players. The next closest is 13 with Clemson, and they're the number 2 class in the country. Well, they just have more guys. So I'm supposed to sit here and punish them for getting players to commit sooner? Some of those guys will flip. Yeah, most of them won't. Some will. They always do. It's a common theme in the summer, in the fall, around signing day. It happens. But if you go back and track the number of kids who are committed April 1st of every year for the next recruiting cycle, do you think it's over or under 60% remain committed to this school? I'd go out on a limb and feel very good doing so. It's a very strong branch I'm jumping out on here. Maybe walking out onto so that I don't break it if I jump up and down. I'm just finding all new ways to snap branches here. Anyway, I would go out on a limb and say, yeah, it's more than 60%. It's probably closer to 80%. Now, USC had several notable high-profile decommitments in the 2025 recruiting cycle. Not forgetting that. I have not just logged it out of my memory as, nope, never happened. Oh, what are you going to... The difference here is that when you introduce a new player at the table and suddenly the odds seem to have shifted, it's because they have. And in the world of general managers, they hired a really good one. So the latest commitment for the Trojans is not the highest rated guy. In fact, according to 24/7 Sports, he's their third lowest rated recruit of the 17 players they have in the 2026 cycle. They might soon be getting a 4-star defensive line commit who was committed to Oregon within the last week, but has decommitted, might flip to USC. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition. But Malik Brooks is a guy who, just a 3-star recruit, 6'4", 330 pounds. Might need a little work to get his body into shape for the college level. But there are two things that I like about this. Number one, Alabama was after Malik Brooks as well. So recruiting ranking being what it is, which is just inside the top 800 nationally, this is not some high-profile name that would generate SEO clicks on this particular segment on YouTube. But what I do see here is a trend that the Trojans have needed to rectify and appear to be doing so. And that trend is, hey, we need to be bulkier. Teams run on us too easily. We need to be bigger in the trenches. And so they went out in the 25 cycle and got Jakeem Stewart. I saw a video of him walking to practice yesterday. He looks like he has been in college for 2 to 3 years. He hasn't even taken a snap yet. Yeah, he's a 5-star defensive lineman for a reason. But going out and getting these guys, hiring Denton Lynn, hiring a GM, lots of good things happening there. Now, on the other side of the country, you have North Carolina, who in the 2025 cycle with Bill Belichick and Mac Brown, the handoff and whatnot, their high school class was number 41 nationally. That's not where North Carolina should be. They should absolutely have... Do they have the amount of talent in their backyard that USC does? No. But right now, they're sitting at number 27 nationally. And if the Tar Heels do things right, they can recruit at a top 25 level and build a roster over time that is good enough to be top 3 or 4 in the ACC and push to make the college football playoff. No reason that can't happen. No reason that shouldn't be the expectation when Bill Belichick is one of the 10 highest paid coaches in college football. Within 2 to 3 years, they better be at least contending for a playoff spot. They better at least be able to get the Miami trajectory, where in year 3, you are 1 game away from making the college football playoff. But the Tar Heels have also been surging a bit. Now, I have been on record many a times and continue to be a doubter of Bill Belichick and his ability to succeed in college football. One trend I always look for when guys come down from the NFL, how do you recruit? Bill Belichick's never done that before. He's got a general manager who put together an NFL roster. It's different. So far, returns are not bad. Their highest rated commit is Trayshawn Ruffin, a defensive lineman who was courted by schools you may or may not have heard of, Texas A&M, Louisiana State, that's LSU, and Alabama. Amongst others, but those are just some headline schools. He went to North Carolina. That's the sort of thing that makes me turn my head not all the way around. You know, I'm not doing a 360 snapping, whoa. But it makes me kind of peer over like, hey, what's going on over there? Some good's going down. So let's go back to the question I posed earlier on the show. What's more sustainable? North Carolina surging into the top 25 and staying there in the class of 2026, or USC staying in the top 5 nationally? To me, that answer should be USC. And it goes back to 2 factors. Factor number 1, Lincoln Riley's going into year 4. It's year 1 with his GM, but it's year 2 with his defensive coordinator, Danton Lynn. Year 4 for him as a head coach. That's an easier situation to have running like a well-oiled machine than Bill Belichick, who's adapting to the sport for the first time. Doesn't mean I don't think North Carolina's interesting. They absolutely are, hence why I discussed them here on the show. Reason number 2, though, I mentioned this before. USC is just right next to every school that has talent. Not all of them, of course, but they're not far away. And if they go in and reestablish a stronger foothold that they allowed Oregon to kind of walk into their backyard and take from them in the Southern California recruiting landscape, yeah, USC can recruit at a top 5 level every year. So I have more faith in that right now than I do North Carolina. But these are both schools that on the recruiting trail, I'm keeping an eye on for 2026.